Nope.
Sure, we're sure. Never been more sure. I think we've started streaming.
Excellent.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Watch It Played live version. I'm Rodney Smith. This is
Pat McDonald.
And please, as always, in the comments, in the live chat, let us know if you can hear us. And I was tinkering around with the microphone again, as I'm wont to do, and I might have wrecked it. So let me know if you can hear us okay. And otherwise, I guess we'll jump in. Should we wait a second to see if we get a comment?
Sure. And we already started off with a comment. So that being said, if you have a question, like Michael Vinoy did, leave it in all caps, the word question at the start, and we'll probably be able to find it and read it pretty easily.
Always a good tip.
Always a good tip.
All right. Good morning, Todd. Okay, so let's start with a couple of news items, and that'll give people a chance to let us know if the audio is coming through or not and how it sounds. Yes, and James, hello from South Africa. Actually, that's something maybe we can point out is we are streaming at a different time than we normally do.
True.
You just hopped out of the shower.
I did.
It's a bit earlier in the day. Normally we do this in the evening, our time. And although we'll probably usually do that, it's kind of nice to mix it up just so people who live in other time zones can join us more easily, right?
Yeah.
I had a couple people join me saying, hey, this is great. It'll be like 4 o'clock in the afternoon for me. This will be perfect. So a couple of things I just want to mention quickly off the bat. One thing is I just wanted to bring a little special attention to a Kickstarter that's online right now called Delve, because it's a friend of mine, Pete Shirey, or Shiri, who I always get his last name.
I say Shiri.
Do you say Shiri?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Pete's has actually, I think his name is attached to a couple of games that are coming out. One from Upper Deck Entertainment about Jaws, which is his favorite movie. And then this one called Delve, which is a dungeon delving game, which is coming from Indie Boards and Cards. So I just wanted to give him a friendly plug as a friend. And if you want to check that out, I will put links in the description of this video later if I think of it. I'm sure
we'll write a note.
Someone will let me know. Pat might let me know. And the other thing is I want to mention again, we have T-shirts, Watch It Play T-shirts. You might be sick and tired of hearing about the T-shirts because there's been a couple of things lately about them, but you'll be surprised. People just sometimes don't see things or aren't notified about things. And there's a pre-order right now. And again, I should put a link in the description of this video to that, probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right.
How about we have a big hands? All right. Well, the T-shirt comes in 2 different styles. There's men's, and there's also men's and women's and tall. So if you're interested, it's over at Analog Gamer. So analog and gamer.com, I think, or it's analoggamers.com. Yeah. You'll find it.
You'll find the link in the description later, maybe.
Oh, Lord. So anyway, we have some T-shirts up for pre-order. You can pre-order them there. People sometimes ask, where are these shipping from? They are shipping from the U.S., so keep in mind, if you're in Canada, if you're anywhere other than the U.S., the shipping is going to be painful. There's no way around it. I shipped Star Wars Destiny dice to my friend over in L.A., and it was just a small, tiny little packet of dice and cards, and it cost me, I don't know, $8 or $9, I think it was, and the same him coming to me. So
you got to cut the dice in half, try to make it more flat, so it's just like a letter.
Yes, if things are letters, then you just throw a stamp on it. It's simple.
Yeah.
As soon as you go to anything that doesn't, they have this kind of like slot size, and if the envelope won't slide through it suddenly becomes small package mail.
I think if the dice were flat in the envelope, it probably...
The dice
go through that slot.
No, they
wouldn't fit the slot.
Didn't. Well, and Star Wars Destiny dice are a little chunkier.
Yeah.
But anyway, shipping is just a burden that we all have to deal with. It's just not surprising when you think about it. We're throwing these things on planes, flying them across countries, and putting them on trucks and shipping them out. It's it's not an inexpensive proposition. Did you know it used to be free to mail in the U.S.?
I didn't.
Yeah, well, it's true. I forget where I learned that. I think it was in that Box of Rocks game.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it used to be free. Crazy. Okay, other thing I want to mention, the fundraiser. Our past fundraiser, which ended.
Yes.
The biggest thing we're waiting on right now is the fulfillment of promos. I am very happy to announce that the final promos are on the way to us. Well, still, they're on the way to us.
They're close.
A lot of the time, it's just waiting and going after the publisher saying, has it been shipped yet? Is it on its way to us yet? It is on the way to us. It is coming from Poland, though, so, it's going to take a little while to get to us. But I am excited because that means probably fulfillment will happen before the end of February for sure. I don't think before the end of January, because it's quite an involved process. I have to print all the envelopes and all that stuff. But anyway, if you've been waiting for the promos, they're on the way. One quick announcement. If you moved, please send me your updated mailing address at our email, watchitplayed@live.com, and just let me know what your new address is. And please let me know your email that you used to fill out the survey and donate with. That'll make it easier for me to find you in our records.
We'll leave that in the description later, too.
Please. Thank you. Last but not least, keep your hand ready. Another thing you're going to have to write down. I was on a live show, was that 2 days ago or yesterday?
Tuesdays ago.
Thank you, Pap. With Joel Eddy of Drive-Thru Review and a whole bunch of other board game media creators, we were talking about our most anticipated games of 2017, our top 3 each. And so we talked about that and some other silliness. If you'd like to check it out, go to the Drive-Thru Review website, or you can check the description.
Yeah, check the description. And don't ask us that question. Just go watch that other video.
Yeah, that's right. That's a question you have to ask in here. What's our most anticipated games? I wouldn't normally answer that kind of question.
No.
But when it's somebody else's challenge or someone else's channel, all the rules go out the window. Okay, that's all my news.
Oh.
Let's just check here quickly and see if there were any questions about, or people yelling at us about the terrible sound and everything. Oh, look at this. Bjorn Asmus says, you both look fantastic.
Thank you.
Delightful. Thank you so much. You're my favorite commenter so far. Okay. Well, listen, we have a game that we're going to play here a little bit later. It's called Avenue. We're going to play that with you guys. We're going to be able to play along with us. If you would like to get ready to play with us, there is actually a link in the description below already. I did think of this. You have to write this down. It's already in there. I'm pretty sure it's already in there. In the description of this video, I believe. And it will take you to where you can download the sheets. Now, the sheets are like a PDF, and I think it says something like play with Rado or something. That was a typo. Definitely a typo. They definitely meant play with Rodney, I'm certain. No, this is the publisher. Rado already did this as a live game on one of his live shows, and I thought, this looks clever the way he's doing this, and so I'm blatantly copying it. Thank you, Rado, for that. And the company had created the sheets for them, for viewers to be able to print out at the same time and play along. So if you'd like to in advance, you can get that ready and print it out, so you can join us for that play. Should we start answering some questions? I see all kinds of comments flying by.
Quite a few pop up.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's go scroll up here. We have some as well that people send us in advance. And if you'd like to send us questions in advance, you can join our guild over on BGG. It's the link is.
I'll just start the other side.
Okay. We'll put a link in the description below. Oh boy. All right. So, okay, so we'll start at the very top. Michael asked, and remember, if you want to ask a question, it's great if you put it in all caps, not the whole question, just the word question. It helps us find the questions. So he writes, question. Good morning. That's not a question. He'll be watching later, but he's wondering if there's any board game accessories or add-ons that you would consider must-haves, not for specific games, but like pimped out meeples and such. Well, just having funny thoughts about pimping meeples, but anyway. What do you think?
Little tiny gold chains for every one of your meeples?
A little fluffy hat,
I mean, funny enough, I like doing that kind of stuff anyway.
Really?
Well, like if I have my meeples in my game, remember we'll add mustaches to them?
Yeah. Remember our gallerist? Didn't we put like there was an evil guy who was like always whacking the different meeples?
Yeah, so that kind of stuff is fun. But we kind of cheated a little. We talked about this ahead of time because Michael asked before it started. So.
Yeah. That's why I'm going to give it toss it to you because you had a good one.
So I think because he said not specifically, like a lot of people buy upgraded coins and things like that, like maybe for 7 Wonders. But the thing is, instead of putting them inside of a game, if you just left this big tray of like, these are my game coins, or even those upgraded bricks, wood, wheat.
I'd recommend a bowl, but I mean, if you want to put it on a tray.
Yeah, a tray. Like, well, I don't have dinner parties. So all those dinner trays that I have, those are just for meeples and such.
Coins.
But yeah, so having those all outside already, you can just, that way when you take your game places, you have your normal components, but if you play it at home, you have like the upgraded things.
Right, I love that. I thought that was great. I was thinking it the other night, I was here for a game night here, we were playing Concordia, and I thought, boy, I'd love to have coins for this, metal coins. But I don't want to put metal coins in that and then metal coins in every game that I want metal coins in. So a little bowl full of them, awesome. If anyone has any suggestions for good metal generic looking coins, or I would say kind of Euro-y looking coins, because I have like sci-fi looking coins, but I don't have kind of, those Euro-y ancient.
Well, I think people who live in Europe, they have their change would probably look pretty Euro-y. So there you go.
If you want to send me some of your European change, that will work.
Yeah. Ours has polar bears and stuff on it.
You don't want ours. Yeah, because I don't really want to play with sci-fi credits and things in Concordia. I'd rather be kind of like a little old-timey. So
I guess that is why a lot of times people upgrade specific components for specific games, because they look like they fit the game. But you can, from campaign coins. Name some places for me.
Great metal coins. I think it's called the best. I think it's called Best Damn Metal Coins. Is that what you mean?
No, like what's the really popular? I can't think of their name.
Are you thinking of Jamie Stegmaier, Stonemaier Games?
No, just the place that specifically makes custom coins all the time. Anyway, but you can get more generic-looking, nice metal coins, but some games have specific metal coins for them. So
one thing I will mention quickly, because it just came to me, because your comment, Stonemaier Games does have these boxes of generic accessories.
Yes.
It's like wheat and wood and metal and sci-fi stuff and whatever. And so, again, if you were playing a game like, I don't know, anything that had wheat in it.
Catan.
Catan, sure. That's not like... It does replace all the cards with little wheat tokens.
You just have to hide them in
a bag or something. Okay. Anything that would require tokens. They've got amazing looking 3D painted components. Oh boy, we're off to a great start today. Let's move on to...
Hello from everyone and everywhere. Australia, South Africa, California, Chicago.
This is probably the most hellos we've had ever.
Russia, England. Hello to all of you. It's really early here. But it's great that you're here with us.
We love it. This is probably the most hellos we've gotten. We got to do maybe more morning shows.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, at night, nobody cares. Everyone's just like, we're here. But in the morning, everyone's like, hey, good morning.
All right.
I'm having you with some cereal.
Well, or they're watching in the middle of the night, too.
With some cereal.
With some cereal. That's right.
Watching Play It and cereal. The two things go together.
Okay. So we got a question here from Louis Zaragoza, who asked, I just moved to a new place in California and was wondering if you had any types for getting a board game. Oh, tips, I'm guessing.
Corrected afterwards.
Right, I see it. Tips for getting a board game group together. Let's just try to answer this one very quickly. I think we have talked about this before. It's a good question, and it's a challenging question. How do you get people together for games? I'll say one quick thing. Try to see if you can find another one. Meetup. Meetup.
That's so cheap.
No, but meetup.com is a great service online. In a lot of larger cities, game groups will register on there. So you just search and see if there's any game groups that meet locally nearby, if you're comfortable just meeting some strangers. I'll say one more quick one, and I don't know if you have any.
Go for it. I have a thought.
Okay, go to a local game store. If there's a local game store, see if they have a regular game group that you can go to.
Yeah, or hop on some dating sites and just be very descriptive in your description and be like, I'm actually looking for people to play board games with.
I'm not looking to date anyone, to be frank. I'm just trying to find someone to play board games.
I feel like a lot of board gamers would be on dating sites anyway. And so they'd see that and be like, hey.
Yeah, and hey, who knows? Love may bloom. You never know when Cupid's going to strike. That's a brilliant tip.
But thank you.
Yeah.
But seriously.
That wasn't serious?
Find friends. No, that was sort of serious.
Make some friends?
But no, listen. Shh.
Oh my gosh.
Make some friends and then just basically.
Don't be so unlikable, Lewis.
In a new area, make some friends and basically get your friends to bring their friends. And honestly, you would think that, the people who wouldn't necessarily want a game might stick around, but they usually don't. Like, we've had big game groups and more people come in, and the people who don't really like heavy gaming as much will normally just kind of stop coming as often. And I think that's it. Just saturation, have friends bring their friends, and if people don't really like the group or the gaming that goes on, they'll move on.
But I mean, you brought up another thing that I would mention. If you are thinking about doing something yourself, maybe you've made a few friends and you think, these could be gamers, but I'm not sure. I do recommend starting with lighter games. Code names. Yeah, anything that's kind of like a party or light game. Of course, there might be someone in that group who's gung-ho to play that heavy game. It would be perfect for it. I recommend go gently. Don't play the games you want to play. Play the games you think a group might be interested in, so you can feel out who here really wants to be playing these kind of games, and then sort of grow from there. But it's challenging. Listen, I think one of the biggest gamers' dilemma is I need to find people to play games with, and it's not always easy, right? And I get those in the comments all the time on videos. It's like, oh, this game looks great. I'll never find anyone to play this with, So.
Yeah, that's why I say, I think try to start with your actual friend group you've made in the area, and then expand from there, rather than just trying to find.
See if you can evangelize.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many of your friends have other friends that like games, and you just don't know about it.
Yeah, or could like them. Who knows?
Yeah.
Gil Mello he wrote a comment in another video, actually, one of our table talk videos, and he wanted to know if we'd do a table talk on game storage, specifically storing games vertically versus horizontally. And I said, well, I don't think that's something we could really fill a whole table talk with, but we could probably talk about it here quickly. I personally store my games not the way I'd like to, but I store them all horizontally. So this way, yeah. What about you?
Oh, darn, I was hoping you could keep talking. Keep talking.
I will keep talking. Pep? looking around here, I can see he stores them all horizontally as well. When I saw people...
I have them stored both ways.
Okay, but the majority. Can I say the majority of yours are stored? Yes.
Yeah, that's
I can say it, like the vast majority.
perfect.
The reason why I store them that way is because all the components inside, if I store them this way, they all get crammed up in the bottom of the box, this bottom quarter of the box, and I don't usually... Some of the components, that's not going to be good for them. It's like I need to weight this so the heavy ones are going to slide to the bottom, the light ones are going to be the top, and I'm not really thrilled with maybe what I can do to the box integrity. But pulling it off the shelf is so much easier when it's sideways. I want that one.
Yes.
I just pull it out. I'm not taking the 10 off the top or whatever. And talking about box integrity, stacking boxes on top of each other, the weight, sometimes it's a juggling match of like, okay, this box is not quite the same size. It's going to overhang a little bit, and like some of my boxes on the bottom have sometimes got a little indentation, right, from the ones stacked on top or underneath. Or
yeah,
whatever.
Size is very important for me. I want the similar sizes together.
Right.
But for me, it's mostly about aesthetics. So I grab 2 random games. Not promoting these games, just grab the first 2 I can find.
Sure.
Just saying.
Thank you.
But for me, it's important about the aesthetic. I want people to be able to look at the shelf and read the names and know what game they're playing. So some games are very good at this. And for example, 7 Wonders. If I leave 7 Wonders on the shelf like this, then there you go.
Yeah,
you can see it.
Certainly.
But this also comes with the sideways view. Quite a few games have this now, which is really good. But there are the games that don't. For example, Block Us. Block Us is the same on every side. It has to lay flat or people will be reading it sideways.
Right.
Now, of course, you're probably thinking reading words sideways isn't the end of the world.
Ding, ding, ding.
But I think it adds the aesthetic.
Especially if all of them are sideways, but yeah. I mean, like that 7 Wonders one, it's really tiny too, when you put it this way. So it's like hard to see.
Yeah, and sometimes you just need to fit spaces on your shelf too. Like if you have, games that fit here and then here, there's that space in between. So it's nice to have the games that do have the sideways tilt. I think less about the components shifting, but I think that's because no matter what you do, it's going to end up happening anyway, short of the game being upside down.
It depends. Like, if you have a really good insert solution, then it's like, okay, this is great. But then when you shift it sideways, everything falls out of that insert. A lot of my games are bagged, so I could put them sideways and it wouldn't like disrupt the tokens. I just open it up and pull everything out and it's fine. So I'd be interested in the comments below as you've heard us talk about this. Maybe you can quickly, just as a quick vote, do you store vertically, horizontally, or both? And do you have any thoughts about it? Maybe we'll skim down. We'll see if anyone's brought anything about it that we haven't thought of.
Table Talk Live.
Table Talk Live. That's right. So yeah, that's about as much as I think I want to say about that topic. But I would like to eventually have mine all sideways, just for the ease of pulling them out. But I'm with you. I like my games to be similar size together. That's really important. I mean,
ideally, I would love to have like a field-sized basement with individual pedestals for every one of my games that can be stored in whatever way is most ideal.
Along with the trays of coins.
Along with the
individual trays of coins and meeples.
Yeah.
I want to live in your future house. Okay, so we've gotten through one question. We've got 3 left here. We got yours. We've done some on here. We're doing fine. We're doing fine. Okay. So Ricardo Pinero asks, would you do a watch it played of Black Orchestra? I've never played. This is actually an interesting question. I get asked this quite a bit. People will say, hey, I got a suggestion of a game. Would you ever do this game? Would you ever do that game? And I don't really want to discourage people from having their enthusiasm and sharing their thoughts with me, but my answer to that is almost always going to be maybe.
Yeah.
I don't pre-announce games. I made the mistake in the past of pre-announcing games saying, we're going to do Game X. And then something happened to my schedule.
Game X is a good one.
Game X, yeah. I realized I don't think I do want to feature that game, or there's more challenges to featuring this game than I thought there were going to be. I'm not doing it. And then I get a lot of comments going, hey, you said you were going to do Game X. And the thing is, I'm only one person, so I might respond to one person and say, oh yeah, it got delayed. But then I have to keep responding to like several people since I've made this commitment to try to be interactive with folk. So in general, I will probably almost always say maybe or no, or tell you nothing that would be helpful in that regard, simply to try to not disappoint people, because I hate disappointing people.
So Tomislav Petrina asks, do you have any recommendations for games similar to Mechs vs. Minions? Now, I think it's important, if we're going to answer this, not to answer that like these are necessarily good or bad games, but like, is there actually any game you can think of that's similar to the way it plays?
I think I haven't played Robo Rally, but I know that's a programming movement game.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So there's that. Volt by Emerson Matsuichi is another game where you kind of program things behind a screen, I guess, and then reveal. That's not quite the same thing because it's run out privately. See, the thing about this is it's cooperative program movement too, which is a little different.
Yeah.
Zitted has program movement.
And then on top of it, like it's a campaign play too. So you can talk about campaign games, like let's talk about Descent or something like that. You could look at it different ways. So I think that's a hard question to answer.
It is. It's a little tricky because a lot of the games I'm thinking of with sort of program movement, it's often it's hidden. You're trying to surprise each person. So I can't really think of.
It's usually one-off, like in a small arena, rather than rather than in a large map.
Necro's Dominion is kind of a unique animal in the way it combines several different things. All right, let's move down here.
Oh, I like this one.
Nick, that one?
Nick Onk 2 asks, are you into classic two-player strategy games such as chess, backgammon, Go, or even more recent examples like Tak from cheap-ass games?
So, short answer, yes.
Yeah.
There's Quarto. There's Quarto, there's Corridor, there's a whole bunch of these core games. Those are kind of interesting little two-player abstract games. Pep has a whole collection of these wooden-styled two-player games, right? Go ahead. Yeah. He's off the leash, everybody. I don't play games like chess very much anymore, but every now and then I'll break out checkers. Backgammon I used to play a bunch of. I can't even remember how to play backgammon anymore because it's been so long since I played. Here's one of Pep's.
Quantify? From Miranda Games.
Okay. So the idea here is each person has either the dark or the light wooden pieces. This whole tray is empty.
Yeah.
And you place one at a time, right? And they're all differently shaped. And you can't go outside of is it a 4x4 grid?
4x4. So this game's over. And the pieces are just put on top because those two pieces broke.
Are illegal,
So the last person, like let's say you were forced to place this piece here. This means you were the loser.
Right. The first person to make an illegal move.
And I think it makes a great display piece because I usually just end up setting it how the game ended.
Yeah.
And then people are like, what is this? And then you get to be like, this is what
that is the nice thing about these abstract, especially these wooden games, is they make a nice centerpiece. You can leave them around your house and someone goes, what's that? And you can go, well, I'll show you. Let's play a game, I
like that about the original classic games like they mentioned too, like chess, backgammon, Go. Those usually have nice pieces, especially if you get like glass versions that you can leave out and people will see a chess set and just be like, do you want to play a game of chess? You can't really do that with Seven Wonders, for example.
No.
It's weird to leave Seven Wonders out on your table.
I've been playing Istanbul a lot with my wife lately, so I've had that sit on the table. But it's like our dining room table. So we're not able to eat there. We have to eat at the smaller kitchen table. If you have a gaming table, then those can be kind of handy because they have like the two dual layers. So you can set the game up in the bottom drop down, and then you can cover up the top, right, with whatever sleeve they give you or whatever shelving unit. So then you can eat on top of that or do whatever. But yeah, it's not really convenient for most of these other games.
I would love. I remember I was talking to Bebo at one point about the idea of having like a shelf, basically with a bunch of flat wooden slats where you would store games that you haven't finished playing yet.
Yes.
So like you'd store it on it and then slide it in. You could slide it out and play again later. Like we talked about something like that too. And I think that would be great for doing the opposite of too, like pre-setting up games that you want to play on the slats so that you can pull it out and be like, here,
boom,
play Seven Wonders? Seven Wonders, let's start.
You're on the Seven Wonders kick.
Well, I start with one example. I don't want to go to more. We're playing Seven Wonders and that's it.
Okay. M. Banff asks, have you played Scythe at 8 players? If so, how was it? Well, the how was it question I wouldn't answer because that'd be a little too reviewy for my taste, but I haven't played it at 8, so it doesn't matter. Have you played it at 8? You haven't played it at all, have you?
I haven't got to play it at all yet.
That's right. I've played it, I think the highest player count I did was 6, I want to say 5 or 6.
And apparently 7 is the maximum. He clarified after, or they clarified after.
Oh, okay.
I think that must be with the expansion, right?
With the expansion, it adds. Isn't it 6 players normally? That's the max. Then you have the game here. Check, would you? It's 6 players. Then 2 brings it to 8.
I'm getting up a lot.
I know. I might be crazy. I'm sorry if I'm crazy. Okay, we got another question here from M. Olson. Well, here's another question. Plans to cover War of the Ring. So that would kind of fall in that category of, well, would I consider covering it? Perhaps. I've never played the game. I'm interested in playing it. It's not off the table, but that's not a commitment from me to do it. And hello, Jamie. I'm assuming that's Jamie from the Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast. Yes, it is, because he said I was there at the live show with Joel. I'm looking for questions. Here we go. Brandon asks, have you all heard about either More Mice and Mystics or Tail Feathers expansions? I have not, but that's another one of those questions that's a little tricky, because if I did hear about it and say it wasn't known about in general, then it's probably something I wouldn't be allowed to say anyway.
It's true.
So, but no, I haven't heard, in any official capacity, I haven't heard anything. And that's not me trying to hint at something else. I just probably have to answer questions like that.
So to jump back to one question, and then to jump back to the first question again, you're right, Scythe is 1 to 5 players. And I must say,
players. Okay.
And I must say, this is one of the reasons why I think flat games are the classic idea, because a game that's this big, it's harder to put on the shelf like that.
Yeah.
And on top of that, traditionally, a lot of games were designed like Monopoly, that were always supposed to be flat like that. Like, nobody puts Monopoly on their shelf this way, right?
That's right.
So I think
that's a little mental.
I think that's the thing, is that we've been.
You probably do it this way if you're going to do it, but yeah.
Yeah, true. But then you have to have a long shelf.
Long shelf, yeah.
Traditionally, I think we are used to putting games flat, and that's just probably why it keeps going that way.
Joseph asks, any plans to release a plaid Watch It Played shirt? I would totally buy it. Well, we'll consider it. Right now, we just want to see how the t-shirts that we have going right now do, and if they seem to be popular, then we'll consider other patterns and stuff.
It has to say Watch It Plaid on the front.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
That'd be great if it just misprinted. Like, you said to put Watch It Played, and they just put Watch It Plaid instead, and we just kept it.
Daniel McNabb wants to know how wardrobe changes will take place in the live stream. Well, I don't plan to do any wardrobe changes. Do you?
Well, you could take your sweater off.
I could take off it's not a sweater. It's a thicker fabric, but it's a shirt. That doesn't believe me. I'm not sure, Rodney.
I'm not sure.
Okay, Carmen wants to ask a fundraiser question. In the Legacy of Duke to Crazy, do you unlock both extra mission of the Patreon by mission card in? I'm sorry, I can't follow that question. And I'm not sure. I would have to go look at the rules.
The
patron by mission card in, or you need 1 mission card for each extra. If anyone in the comments knows the answer to the question, feel free to answer. I'm not sure.
We don't have the game with us here.
And that's the thing. Like, I will often get asked questions in the comments of our videos, and usually most times I have to go look it up because I don't have all the games memorized. I usually have to go look it up.
Especially not specific kind of questions.
Yeah, that can be a little bit challenging.
I usually need to pull it out, look at the pieces.
Yeah. Look at the rules, or go to BGG if the rules don't have it.
Alexandra Lee asks, what is Andrea studying in college?
Intro to business. Introductory, like she's in her first years of business. She's thinking about possibly something in human resources, but that could change.
So she isn't trying to make Watch It Played squared?
No. Let's see. Dave asks what games you've been playing and enjoying recently. I'll tell you what I've been playing recently. I've been playing a ton of Star Wars Destiny against my better judgment. It's a CCG. It's a format that I'm not a huge fan of, but I had a couple of friends relentlessly bug me about it and tell me how amazing it was and how great it was, and I need to play it, and eventually I caved. And I started playing it, and I've been playing it a fair bit lately. Yeah.
I've been playing quite a bit of Honshu and Fields of Green. Mm-hmm. And Masmora.
And Masmora, yeah. I think I have to say Istanbul. I've played that 6 times in the last week or so, starting with the base and then adding in the expansions and stuff.
Not 7 Wonders, though.
Not 7 Wonders. But you did have to mention it again, didn't you?
I did.
M. Banff wants to know what are some good Canadian delicacies. Maple
poutine.
Syrup.
Just poutine.
Just Canadian maple syrup and poutine. Yeah.
Someone actually brought poutine chips last night to game night.
That's true.
It was very appreciated.
They're pretty good.
They're pretty good.
Pretty good.
Not as good as actual
No,
poutine.
not the same. Okay. I want to answer a couple questions here. I want to talk about Avenue, and I want to come back to you guys.
Yeah.
So here's a question. Vincent wanted to know, did we make any New Year's resolutions?
My only New Year's resolution is to not make a New Year's resolution.
Okay. I didn't formally, but I think every time there's a new year, I kind of go, well, it's a time to maybe try to get some good habits back in gear or whatever. It's very arbitrary, January 1st, like that should matter. It's actually kind of, I think, a little bit of a crutch, really, to wait until January 1st to actually enact something in your lifestyle that you want to do.
Well, I assume he means more like the board gaming resolutions, like the 10 by 10 challenge and stuff like that.
Well, Vincent asks a lot of very general questions, so he could be. For me, I'd like to try to exercise a little more. Watch It Played is not a very active job.
Yeah, it's not like watch it lift.
No, so a little more exercise, eating a little better would be nice. Just the basic things like that.
A lot of times, if I do make resolutions, I actually wait until halfway through the month before I actually, like January 1st is when I would start to think of resolutions.
Right.
And then by the end of January, I would have a list and be like, okay, I'm going to start.
These. Okay.
And it's basically because January 1st, I think, is traditionally with resolutions is where you start thinking about it,
It's kind of like the worst. If you celebrate the holidays at all, you've just eaten potentially lots of food. You've been on a break. You haven't been living your normal life.
I think that's how it started.
Yeah.
People were just like, oh, I ate so much candy Christmas and I spent so much money. I have to change this.
Okay.
And then by the time Christmas comes around again, you're like, woo, money!
Let's change it all again. Well, Pep, maybe I'll get you to move this to the side, and I will introduce.
Oh, but Vincent had a second question.
He did. Anything coming in 2017 you're looking forward to? Technology, movie, book of events, whatever. Technology, not particularly. Movies, sure. Every Marvel movie that's being made by Marvel or in collaboration with Marvel, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't. Every game event is coming up. Gen Con, it's actually the 50th anniversary of Gen Con this year.
Conventions.
That should be exciting.
I'm really looking forward to Origins this year. I'll be going to Gamma. That'll be interesting. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the conventions.
But nothing specific to this year that I can think of so far.
Okay. So, yeah, Avenue. Here it is. This is Avenue. So, again, if you look in the description of the video, you'll find a link there that should take you to a PDF which you'll want to grab right now and print out. And grab a pencil as well. And Pep, you haven't played this before, so I'll give you a quick little tutorial as we go along.
Perfect.
So everyone, hopefully, is looking at their little sheet. This is the sheet. I'm actually going to bring up my monitor here so I can see what we look like, Pep, so I can see if this is even on screen. Oh boy, that's really blurry, so you probably can't. I'm going to try to find an angle that's half decent here.
That's kind of good like that.
It's kind of good. So what you should be able to see on here is a bunch of little cities that are labeled with letters like A, B, C, D, E, F. And you'll also see up here, this should be a green castle, and down here, a little purple castle. And everything else, we've got spaces with grapes, and they're in two colors, purple and green. Okay. If you're colorblind, like Pep,
I'm putting G's and P's on things.
Okay, that's smart. There are combinations. Now, the purple grapes are grouped like that, and the green grapes are differently shaped.
Just like real grapes.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way this game works is we are going to have, there's this little deck of town cards, and these will be shuffled, and they say the different cities or towns, right? We're going to draw one randomly, so C, and that means we're going to be scoring the C town on here, okay? And over the course of the game, each round will be revealing a new city. But there's one that won't be picked. So you can't know which one you won't need. The object of this game is to get the most points. The way that's going to happen is by drawing routes with your pencil on this pad with lines that will cross through the cities, leading you to grapes. And you're trying to connect as many grapes as possible to the cities, okay, ultimately. There's another catch to this as well, but I'll get to that in just a moment. The first thing, I'll just tell you what happens on a turn. We have this deck of cards, and I will draw the top one, and I will call out the number that's printed on it. I'll say 4. And if you look at your sheet here, you'll see it's numbered from 1 to 6 on the bottom, has a little legend, and that is the same thing. So you don't have to worry about seeing it. If I say 4, then you just look down here, okay, Rodney pulled out the shape that shows this kind of route. The orientation is precise. You have to draw a line that matches that exact orientation. You can't turn it around or rotate it on one of these squares. Okay, so this one is kind of over and down, so I would draw it centered on the space over from this side and then down. So from the left side over to the bottom, right, for example. I can pick any empty space to draw in. All right. The other option you have instead of drawing is to actually sneak a peek at the next town card. So if we were doing E, you could sneak a peek and see what the next one was and not show the other person. We won't be doing that here because there's no way for you guys to do that along with us. So we'll just skip that rule, okay? But normally you'd have that option. And sometimes that can be kind of strategic because you get a route and you're like, this will not actually help with what I want to do. But if I look ahead, if I ever get another route I don't want to do, I can start building towards a future route that I know is coming up. Okay, so hopefully everyone's clear on that. We'll draw. Okay.
And how do you get points?
I'll tell point scoring in one quick second, but that's a great question. Okay. It is going to be by drawing paths through cities and then through spaces with grapes that are connected so that you can draw a line from the city to the grapes and count them up. But I'll show it actually in a specific detail. The cards are either yellow or bluish gray, like this. Okay. We will keep drawing cards one after the other and drawing on our boards until we have four of these that show yellow. That will end the round. So you never know exactly how many root cards you're going to actually see before the end. Okay. As soon as we have 4, then we end and we'll score. And so now Pep will answer your question. What we're going to do here, and you might want to do this when I call out the town we're doing, in the sort of greenish area here, you'll fill in the letter. So let's say we were scoring D, you'd write D here. And then over here is where you're actually going to score D. So the way it works is you would say, where's town D? So here's town D over here. And again, I apologize for the reflection. Here's town D. I'm going to actually draw on it if you don't mind, just to give you guys a sense of how this works. And I'll just rip this one off afterwards. Okay. It's very important, in order to count and score D, a line has to be drawn through D. You can't just connect to the town, so one of your lines will have to draw through it. Okay. So here I've drawn through, and I'm coming this way, and I go through these 2 grapes, I come down here through these 3 grapes, and then I come through here and I hit 1 more grape. So that's a total of 6 points. And I would mark 6 up here. Okay? If you didn't score anything somehow, then you would just mark it with a 0. Here's the catch. After we score D, I would then draw a new town and we'd start again. Every time you score a new town, the score has to be higher than the previous town you scored. So if I get a really high score early on, then I have to beat 6 the next time. If I don't, then I get 0 for the next town. Okay? Of course, once you get 0 for a town, then you just have to beat that score. So the next town you do will be very simple because you just have to beat 0. Yeah. Okay? If you do get a 0, if you get 0, you score the 0s there. Not only is it a 0, but at the end of the game, each 0 is worth -5 points.
So just to clarify, too, whenever we go to score the next city, like this E, for example, if I had drawn like this through.
Yes.
So does that mean that's my score for E, is all of those connected roads?
Yeah, you can start building on roads you've already done. So now Pep, when he's scoring E, it's the lines that go through E in any direction, so you can count it this way, and you count out the grapes going in that way. Oh. And I believe you can count through towns. So if D actually, for example, I'm going to change
Extend
it up through here, and you were scoring E, you could go.
So ideally, you want to connect all your roads together.
If you could, that would be pretty amazing, yes.
Now, what's the significance of the 2 colored castles?
At the end of the game, we have these castles here, the green one and the pink one. At the end of the game, you will count up the number of same colored grapes that are connected to those castles. So if you have a route coming from the pink castle and it goes through 3 pink grapes, that's a bonus 3 points.
And for example, if your road was perfectly connected and you went all the way through and it connected to both castles, you would get all the points for all of them. Okay.
If you do that, you'll be amazing.
Thank you.
Well, you haven't done it yet. So guys, you can play along with us and see what your score is at the end as well. Let me just do a little look-see here and make sure.
And if you don't have a printer, don't feel left out. You can use the thing online and just use Paint.
Open draw on your monitor.
Draw on your monitor. Put a layer of plastic over and use a marker.
I'm just checking to make sure that there isn't any mistakes. I think I've got it. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of these questions just to see if anyone's been yelling and saying, Rodney, that's wrong. That's not how you do it. You've made a mistake. Okay, Daniel McDonald wants to know, can lines cross each other? No. When you draw a line in a square, it always has to be an empty square. So you could cut yourself off potentially, right? So keep that in mind. Quick question. You draw the line in the box, not through 3 boxes, right? Whenever you're fulfilling a card, it's always going to go exactly within the box, exactly the way it's kind of shown there on the card. So when filling in the box, you draw the route exactly like this, touching this side and then coming down to this side. Okay? You don't have to draw all the fancy little grapes around the outside edges and put the number 4 there. All right, so I will shuffle this up. Oh dear, I think I've just inspired Pep to do that though. Okay, so I've shuffled these up. I'm going to shuffle up the town. Are we ready to get started? What is the prize for whoever wins?
7 wonders.
Okay, well everyone, here's the first town we're doing. Town A. So everyone should right now be writing A.
I like that. Let's do B next.
A right there. Okay, so like I've done, everyone do that. And now I'm going to give these one more quick shuffle, and I'm going to call out the first letter,
ta-da!
Which is a number, the letter 5. So 5 is the first line that you have to do. It's a straight horizontal line. Remember, you cannot rotate. You can't go, well, I'm going to do it this way. No, it has to be exactly as shown at the bottom of the page.
That's right.
5. 5, 5, 5. And we're doing A? Beautiful. Okay. I'm going to draw the next one, and this one was gray. 6 is next. Everyone can draw a 6.
That is the downward line.
That is the downward line.
And they don't have to be connected to previous lines.
They don't have to be. That's a great question. When you draw, you can draw anywhere. You can just draw somewhere else on the map. It does not matter. I will. Boom. Next, we have 3, and this one's yellow. So now 2 of the yellow cards are out. 2 more, and that will end, and we'll have to score A. This one is the curling up one. All right. That's intriguing. Don't love it. Okay. And...
Uh-oh.
What?
I'm sad.
Oh, we've got number 2. All right, number 2 again. Look down here at your board. It's another yellow one.
So the game might be over very soon.
I don't know how you're doing, Pep, but I will tell you, things are not great here in Rodneyville. I'm
not doing too great either.
Not too great? Okay, it's not yellow. We've got a little more time. It's the same one. It's another 2. Another number 2. That's sad for me.
Yeah, I'm sad.
You're sad? Oh boy. What have I done? Okay. Now we're going to draw another one. This one's yellow. This is the last one. And it's a number 3. Oh boy. Number 3.
Well then.
Well then indeed. Yellow 3. Well, I'm just going to make scoring my second round really simple. I'll tell you that much right now.
Same.
All right. We ready?
No.
Is everyone ready? Oh. Okay. I think everyone must be ready. So
I'll just stick it here.
So I just want everyone to see. Here's my A. My A path is going through no grapes.
I didn't even get my A aligned through my A.
So Pep and I are both getting 0.
Yep.
Fantastic. Remember, you will only score the pink and the green castles at the very end of the game. So
I'm playing the long game.
Me too, Pep. Me too. Okay, so everything that you used will be discarded from the game. It's not shuffled back in. I know, it's crazy, right? All right, so let's see what town we're doing next. Are you ready?
It's B.
You want a B. It's D. Sorry to disappoint. Town D. So everyone write D here. All right. Don't write it where I originally pointed. Okay, here we go. D is going to start with number 1. Number 1. Okay, I'm excited about this. This is good. I feel like I'm going to get some points this time.
I actually pre-set up my D.
Did you? Oh,
yeah.
Well, that was fortunate. The next one is 6. 6. 66. 6. The next one, so we've had another 6. That's 3 yellow in a row. 6. Oh boy. All right. This is where that rule of being able to look ahead at 1 is kind of a nice thing. Like I wouldn't necessarily especially in the last game.
Yeah.
I would have looked ahead, seen D, and some of this other stuff I was drawing before during that first round, I would have drawn on D. Okay, we got another yellow. It's the last one. It's 5. This is the horizontal line. Oh boy. All right. Well.
All right. So just to clarify, in my example here. So I can put the line through D here, right? Even though it's going to make this other line
you can
impossible to get to.
Right, and I'm glad you did that because it helps me and it also helps show. See, Pep has got a dead end here. This line that's just above will never run into D anymore, right? But you are going to score some points. And hey, look, that's a handful for sure. You're getting 5 points off of that.
Points.
I am getting a measly 4 points for mine. Measly. Ron Measley. Okay, so we'll discard. That was 4 yellow in a row.
Whew, that's good. Whew. So that means ideally less yellow should come up now.
Yeah, we might have a little longer route this time. C. C is the next one.
A, D, C, D?
Yeah, just to be clear to everyone, A, D, C. So we're doing C right now.
I see.
Okay, the first one is a yellow one. Number 1. Number 1. C. Ooh, boy, that's not... It could be...
I'm going to make some bad choices.
Me too. The next one is another 1, and it's yellow. Gosh. It's fine. We'll be fine, everybody. Everyone just hang in there. We're going to be okay.
We're going to be okay.
Everyone ready? We got a gray card, and it is number 6. So just in case anyone fell behind, we've done 1, 1, and now 6. 6.
All right.
What are we scoring here again? Let's see. Ooh.
Deal me a 4.
We have to score, remember, if you've been making points, unlike Pep and I, you have to score higher than your last point, or you get 0. 5.
And another yellow.
And another yellow. Oh my goodness. All right. I'm setting up here to score 0 points, everybody. 0 points.
I just hope this isn't another yellow. This is ridiculous.
It's not. It's a 6. Up and down.
That's not good either.
I don't know what I'm going to do anymore here with this nonsense. How does one... I don't even know what to do anymore. This is terrible. I'll go...
Yeah, yours looks pretty opposite.
It's horrible. Okay. And another yellow one, and it is a 2. It is a 2. Oh my goodness.
That's so bad for me.
So anyone who's just joining us, this is the game Avenue. We're not going to play through the whole game in this one sitting. We'll take a little pause, and we'll start answering some questions again. But then we'll finish the game at the end here.
Oh, good.
So that was a 2. A miserable 2 is what that was.
I believe we both scored 0 in this round.
You did as well?
Yes.
Well,
I got my C, but it only connected to 2 grapes. So.
Okay, C. I got C and didn't draw a single line through it at all.
I was in line though. If I had got 1, 4, I would have had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Really good, yeah. Well, it's a race to the bottom, Pep. Okay, everybody, we're going to take a quick pause. Just so anyone who joined us in the middle of this and isn't getting to play along doesn't get drawn up by this. But we'll have 2 more rounds. We'll come back and do those 2 rounds in just a few minutes. We won't wait too long for it.
Perfect.
Okay, let's go back to answering some questions.
All right.
I see Patrick Hillier, or Hillier? See, the French-Canadian in me wants to say Hillier.
This is about it. Yeah, this is here.
Okay.
Oh.
Hi, Patrick.
Yeah, perfect.
I love you, Patrick.
This is exactly it, because someone had a watch and play question.
What was it?
Michael Penafeal asks, any future plans of having Rodney, Pep, Andrea, and Luke play a game together for Watch It Played in the future?
No, like firm future plans. It's certainly something I would consider. One of the problems with the bigger games is getting mics for everyone. You can hear kind of right here, like it's echoey, right? It's because we each don't have our own lav mics hooked up because it gets a little funky when we're doing the live show.
Yeah, we almost have to do a live show version.
Yes, yeah, where so people kind of understood, okay, the quality is going to be a little less than the normal, usual thing they'd expect.
Yeah.
The scheduling is the biggest problem. Andrea doesn't live here anymore. She's away at university, so that would make it trickier. We do want to have a live gaming marathon. I announced that in the news and updates video yesterday that went out. And we're thinking right now towards the end of February. And that will have, I think, at least 4 of us playing. It'll be Pep and I, and then 2 of our local friends as well, Jackie and Chris, assuming everything works out. So we're working on locations and figuring out how we're going to mic everything. And Pep, I didn't mention this. I'll mention it to you now. I was thinking we might even we're definitely going to do a run through beforehand that won't be live.
Yeah.
We want to make sure we've got everything working, that the games work, that everyone wants to play the games that we're going to feature, and that's actually going to work well with the live audience. But also, I think what we might want to do is do a actual live, just one session. Like a simple game, like Avenue, maybe not Avenue, but something like that. We just do it and let the audience watch. And then they can comment and go, okay, we're liking this. This camera angle isn't good. This we don't, I wouldn't mind getting feedback of how you were finding the experience. It'll also give our new players a chance to warm up to being live on air with people and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it can even be kind of like in this live format where some people might ask some questions and stuff too. And
just kind of light loose. It might not even stay up on the channel. Just something temporary to try it out, get some feedback, and help us inform, how we do it when we do the full.
That sounds great.
Okay. Palooka Jim. Question. As an employee of Watch It Played, is Pep under the same constraints about offering reviews of games? It's how I prefer it, yes. At least while we're on the Watch It Played platform. I mean, either of us, if you find us at a convention or in real life or whatever, then real life or that virtual life that you might find us in somehow.
Find me in virtual
I don't know
life.
why I did air quotes for that. And you want to ask about games and stuff, I don't mind answering that. I don't like using this particular platform as a way to point people and say, hey, this is a game I think you'll like. I have no idea what games you'll like. It's just a personal thing I've had, and I've stuck with it this long, and it makes me happy.
Yeah.
So... And I think there's a lot of great resources. If you want to go check out reviews and get people's opinions on games, there's an infinite number of people who will tell you their opinions on games.
Infinite.
And
I mean, like maybe I'll mention a game a whole bunch of times, like Seven Wonders, and that could give you a clue. But don't let it.
Don't let it. And I mean, the thing is, that's the thing. I don't review, but if you're watching my Twitter and you're seeing me play Istanbul 5 or 6 times in a row, that's probably an indication that I'm enjoying the game. If you're seeing Concordia pop up occasionally or whatever, or every time someone tweets out the word Kemet, when I reply and yell Kemet in all caps, that might give you some indication. I don't mind having a little fun around it. I just don't want to get in the practice of people thinking Rodney's going to give his opinion on games, and if I ask him, he's going to say, because I just don't want to be in that space. But I never mind that people are interested. That's kind of a compliment that people even care what I think about a game is a compliment. So don't think I'm offended by the question. I just don't like that I can't help you there. Speaking of great people you should listen to, I saw the Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast was in the chat earlier. They have a fantastic podcast. They do full reviews. Joel Eddy, like I just mentioned, was on the live show. He does review videos. Check them out. I mean, that's a place to find out people's opinions. Tom the Dice Tower, they're having their fundraiser right now. There's like every review under the sun. Rado, who we just aped this game from, doing a live version of it. He does an endless amount of reviews. There's all kinds of people out there doing fantastic review content. Okay, just to be clear, I'm going to skip over any question where someone says, is there a chance of you doing game X? Because we already talked about that before. I just don't pre-announce, so I
don't want to answer it multiple times that way.
And my answer would just always be unsatisfying for you guys. M.
Bamf wants to know the most difficult game you've ever taught or made a video for. See, that question comes up a lot, but I like re-asking it because more videos.
Sometimes it changes, yeah.
So, yeah, usually it's the last video.
I don't know what I said last time. I want to say Stronghold 2nd Edition was probably the most challenging because the rules weren't great in that. Whereas something like Robinson Crusoe or The Gallerist. Robinson Crusoe is actually a better example, 2nd Edition. The rules are complex in that there's lots of little edge cases, there's lots of little things to work into the video, but the rule book is really good. So the challenge there is just more my commitment to time and attention and making sure I get everything in there. It's not the more frustrating challenge of, I can't figure out what this means, how do I integrate that into this video and correct it? And does the publisher even really know?
Yeah.
Sometimes, the publisher's gone through it, through so many prototypes and versions of it, they're not even 100% clear, or they think they have the right answer, and then I go, yeah, but that answer contradicts this thing over here. Then what? And so those things create, the more challenging scenarios, right?
Yeah, Robinson Crusoe is a great example too, because I recently played a copy of the 1st edition one.
Yes.
And I played with you. We did the live gameplay.
Yeah,
so I know the rules.
Yeah.
But I needed a refresher on a couple things, and there's a couple questions that came up that I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. This token isn't super clear what it means. That 1st edition rulebook is almost impossible to find anything in.
Right. And I love, listen, I'm calling out that, we're calling out these games before, but Ignacio's been very public about, he recognizes this is a weakness we have.
Oh, yeah.
And he even said, when talking about the 1st edition, Robinson Crusoe, and the 2nd edition, he said, first rulebook? Do you remember what he said?
It was like terrible or awful.
It just tells you nothing.
Tells you nothing.
Second rule book tells you everything, right? So I don't mind picking on Portal a little bit because I think they've been sort of public about recognizing that's a downfall of theirs and that they want to do better, and they are doing better.
Yeah,
so that's something that's important, very important.
And it's great when, like you said, they'll actually release articles or release little like helper things that are very publicly called out, like, oh, this was bad in the old one.
Yeah.
Like the tokens used to be very generic. It would just have a picture of like food, this what you get. But now it says, go, kill thing for food and thing, instead of having to reference the rule book.
Especially when you have a game that a lot of people respect and want to play. Like that's, and I much prefer that. I want to call something out here. Like I really don't like when a publisher doesn't acknowledge a problem, when they try to do some kind of marketing cover-up. I remember when Myth came out, that game had a terrible rule book. And the company's initial response was to backpedal and say, hey, we've never had a problem. All of our playtesters got it. And, if you're a role player, you'll be fine with it and all the rest of it. If you look at their playtest list, it was all the last names of people who were members of their families. So it's like, yeah, no wonder, because you were there to teach them and tell them how everything worked.
Maybe not enough blind playtesting.
Blind playtesting is so important. If you mess something up, own it. And I find most people actually are much more willing to forgive and move on and give you a second chance if you just recognize the problem. If you don't recognize the problem, then people go, I can't trust you to do this right the next time because you don't even know the problem is there in the first place. Anyway, that company has done other games, and I think they're getting better with their rule books and stuff, but always own your mistakes if you can. I'm going to answer a question here that came up, which is kind of interesting. Charles Fox, this is one that was written into our guild. He said, hey, Rodney, do you have future plans for the channel to be 100% self-sufficient and not dependent on a yearly fundraiser? I don't have future plans in the sense that I haven't got it mapped out how that would work. I would love for the show to be self-sufficient in a sense, because then I wouldn't have to do the fundraiser. We've had very great support from the viewers.
Oh, yeah.
It's why we get to keep doing this. It's why you're able to work full-time with the show this year. I could not do that without you guys. But I recognize it's a burden. And there's probably a little bit of board game media fundraising fatigue that comes out when you have all these shows you like and enjoy, and everyone needs help, right? How do you help everybody? You can't really help everybody. You help the ones, I guess, that you most want to. But the problem with becoming 100% self-sufficient, the only way I can imagine doing it is if somebody bought Watch It Played and paid me.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't have control over the content that I create necessarily. So if that was ever to happen, it would have to be with somebody who was willing to give me the flexibility to do what I want to do and keep doing, right? What I've kind of built this channel on. And I kind of like that the fundraiser means my employer is you guys. Because when I wake up in the morning and maybe I'm feeling a little like, I could go back to bed here, I kind of go, no, I have a lot of people I don't want to disappoint here. And I find that kind of motivating, and I feel good that the people that I'm doing this for are the people who are paying me.
It motivates you to diversify your content too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like, because you know that you can't do, all Portal games, for example.
No, right.
Because at some point it'll be like, well, at this point, why aren't I just working for Portal?
Yeah.
So it makes sense. You want to diversify because you have an audience that wants all the games.
If, for example, Asmodee gobbled me up, then arguably I'd only be doing Asmodee games. And they have a big catalog, so I could probably do Asmodee games and be happy. Asmodee, call me. No, I love that I can just pick and choose. We can pick and choose the games we want to feature, more or less, right? So I say more or less because we like to work with certain publishers too. I like to work with publishers who do value our content, right? So
true.
That's important to me. So can it be self-sufficient? I don't know how that would work. There is some world in which that's possible. I just don't know what it is yet. There are companies, for example, that employ reviewers, so that it removes the conflict of interest somewhat. So the reviewer's not getting paid by the publisher; they're getting paid by this company, right? So then they can sort of review and be somewhat objective, right? But
that's true.
I don't know how that would work for Watch It Played, but
yeah.
Anyway, so that's Charles. I'd love for it to be self-sufficient. I don't know if it can be, but I'm always hoping there's ways that the show can be further supported, so we don't have to rely as much on other people.
Maybe you just need like a billionaire philanthropist who decides they want to buy Watch It Played.
Right. Yeah.
And they're like, here's $200,000 a year. Do whatever you want.
That'd be pretty fantastic, I have to say. One can dream. The thing is, I would not, like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, whatever it was, if you'd said to me, would you see yourself still doing this 5 or 6 years later? Would you see it being where it is now and all that? I couldn't have imagined. So I can't really imagine where it's going to go ultimately. Hopefully it continues to go good places. Let's play a little more Avenue, shall we? And then we'll get back to some more questions. All right. And
A, D, C, B, E, F, G.
The next one that we're doing. So everyone, get your Avenue boards out. If you've just joined us, we started a game of Avenue already, so you'll be totally lost. I'm sorry. But actually, the people watching this after the fact can play along too.
Thank you, Jackie. Campaign coins. That's what I was trying to talk about earlier.
Oh, very good. Very good, Jackie. You saved the day. E. Nothing can save our game of Avenue, though. Right now, I have 4 points in total.
E is actually the only town that I did nothing with.
Same here, Pep.
Nothing.
I've got a line through except for C. Okay, everybody, we're doing E, and the first one is number 6. E.
I can't even think of a way to connect this.
You know what? I'm not delaying. I'm putting a line through E, and I'm going to figure this out later. 6. Okay, we've got number 2. Number 2 is next. This is our first yellow one.
Okay, I can handle 2.
Okay. 3. This is a gray one. This one actually might be a longer road here. 3.
Oh, I've made bad life decisions.
It's like this could be good if and only if I get other things I need.
Yeah.
Okay. So 4, another gray one. 4. That was the one I needed. I'm somewhat happy.
Only somewhat?
Only somewhat. That was a 4. Okay, everybody. 5. Another gray one. 5.
That straight line does good things for me.
Okay, and 4. Another gray one. 4. Ooh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Okay. 1. A 1. This is our second yellow one. 1. Well, that was less than helpful, I will say.
Oh, actually, I guess I know that I need it here, so I better just do that.
I'm paralyzed with nothing I can do with that one. So I will kill it. I will kill the one. I gotta bury it somewhere. I'll bury it here.
Oh, you did great on your E.
Oh, I'll do it here. Sorry. There we go. Oops. All right. The problem with doing too great is I have to do even greater the next time. 5. Sorry for the delay, everybody. 5.
A straight line.
Oh boy.
Does the laptop just get darker?
No, maybe. Oh, you know what? It might not be plugged in.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like, we better plug that in.
No, it's plugged in. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
You sure it has the little power?
It's got the little powery thing there.
We're good.
All right.
Little technical difficulties.
4. Number 4.
Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs.
Number 4. I believe.
I mean, there's no reason for me to connect this, but I will anyway.
Okay. Wow.
Don't be a yellow.
3. It's not a yellow. 3, everybody. 3. I think we're finally getting some points here.
Which one is 3? 3 is that. Okay.
Okay. And here's our final yellow.
Yay.
It's a 2. It is a 2.
Perfect.
Is our final yellow.
I actually had my E done after 1.
Oh boy.
All the other ones were just set up for the next round.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Got some nice setups going on too.
All right. So now we can score up E, everybody. I got a scary 13. What'd you get?
I got 6.
So my E is this big, long, windy road here, connecting up other stuff I'd set up. But now I got to beat 13 or I get 0 points.
Mine's just a broken connection that'll never go anywhere else.
Okay. Isolated town. Okay, so everyone, I hope you're doing better than we are. Right now, I have a total score of 17. What about yourself?
I have a total score of 11.
Not counting, of course, the other little...
The other stuff.
The other stuff. All right, the final city that we are going to score is B.
Yes.
No. So the one we're not scoring is F, but B is the one that we're doing. And F would have given me so many points. I'm sad. All right, here we go.
I have at least 16 points already.
3 and it's yellow. B.
Ooh.
B.
Make that 19 points.
Oh my goodness.
I'm excited.
Oh my goodness. I'm in so much trouble. Okay. 5.
Straight line.
5. Another straight line. 5. Another straight line. 5. That's okay.
2 yellows.
2 yellows. We've got a 1. Here's a 1, everybody.
Something like that.
That's not at all what I needed. Oh, I'm going to need to get very lucky. Another 1. That's, as I just said, not at all what I needed.
This just has to get burnt somewhere.
Okay. We've got a 2.
Okay. A 2.
So I'm really not getting anything good here. This is... I'm making so many dead ends. So many dead ends. Okay. We've got a 4. I need specifically 1 card, and I'll be fine.
I did too. It was actually a 4.
What I need is a 6.
All right.
Do you need anything, or are you good?
Give me a 3, 4, or a 6.
I got a 1, and it's gray.
Okay.
I can live with that.
I'm just putting some roads into the abyss right now.
Okay. I need a 6. Come on. No, it's a 4, and it's yellow. Ugh.
Yay!
No. 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 Oh.
That's not what a 4 is. Is it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I just did it. Yeah. We did it in
Oh, my goodness. My B is 4 points for B, so I get 0 points.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
I would have gotten 23 if I gotten a 6. Okay, so now we're going to kind of, for the pink castle.
I'll show you my crazy connection here.
Yeah, let's see it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a good one. That's very impressive.
And it also ended up connecting to my grapes.
There's my super impressive B. If I had been able to connect my B right here, look, it would have gone forever and ever and ever and ever. And I would have gotten the trophy. Oh yeah, there's no trophy. Okay, so for the pink
7 wonders.
we already 7 wonders. The pink castle, you just count up all of the grapes connected to the pink castle that are all the purple grapes.
I got 8. I think it's a purple castle.
Yeah, let's hope it is. I got 12.
Huh?
That's not going to make enough of a difference, but now you can count up the number of grapes connected to your green castle. Number of green grapes connected to your green castle.
11.
9. Then you total it up, and then you'll subtract -5 for every 0 you scored during this game, each 0 town. So isn't this fun, radio? Okay.
Yeah, we should have been rambling or something.
Yeah, all right. Well, I got 28 points. Pep, what did you get?
Well, I had a total of 50 minus 10, so I got a total of 40 points.
50 points?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That's crazy. My total was 38 before I had the subtraction, unfortunately. So our subtractions were the same. You just scored way better overall.
All right, everyone. If you want to post your scores,
yeah, feel free to put it. So the score to beat is 40.
Hopefully no one beats me because I like my copy of 7 Wonders.
We're not giving away the copy of 7 Wonders. Okay. So Daniel McDonald asks, question, with the Asmodee purchase of Plat Hat Games, are you going to be more involved with Asmodee Group across the board, less involved with Plat Hat, or no change going forward? I'm happy to say no change going forward. If anything, more involved just in general, perhaps. I'd like to do, a lot of the games we've featured in the past have been Asmodee-related games anyway, and Plat Hat is a company we've worked with, and I don't see that changing.
Someone, Gil, asked a question there.
Oh.
No, it was there. You hadn't scrolled past it yet.
All right.
Gil Mello wants to know, any chance one of you will get a special character in a game again? I loved Pet.
Well, we'll try to get you more Pet.
I think it's Pep.
Yeah, probably.
I want to hope it's Pep.
Maybe. I haven't mapped out exactly what possible new promos we'll do for the next fundraiser, but I like doing. It's not so much about putting our faces on games. It's really not meant to be kind of an ego thing as much as you played this game with us or you saw the game on the channel. Here's a little memento of something that will mean something to you because you're a Watch It Played viewer.
Yeah.
There's lots of sort of generic promos that are out there, and I don't find those to be as. I don't want to give you. I want to give you things I think will be special, I guess is what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say ultimately.
Yeah, and a lot of times they are something either specific to Watch It Played or kind of have something interesting in the art that's Watch It Played related to.
Yeah. Like the above and below one. You wouldn't even know it was Watch It Played necessarily, except for that we do have the little logo figures on there. And there's 2 guys standing under a tree. That's the impact from when we played the game, right? But we're not like, hey, this is Watch It Played right here. We hope it can kind of blend in a little bit subtly. Although we get a little clever wordplay, it's kind of fun to do.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Hello in Utah, Chuck. Just want to say hi to you. And Mr. Juggles, hello in North Wales. And Omar, hello in India.
Whew. Hello in South Africa.
And Australia, Interzone 88. Scott, hello in California. Okay.
Oh, there's questions.
Yeah, all right. Here we go. Question. Sorry, Holy, I'm not going to say your name. You've made the video for Dungeon Saga. Since then, did one of you try out the co-op mode, and does it work? Or is it just as goody? Sorry, I should have probably skipped over that one because that's more of an evaluation review type question, so I can't really help you with that one.
Gil wants to know, and you will answer this one.
All right.
Gil wants to know, what do you think of the attachable items on Meeples, like from the new Tiny Epic Quest?
I was super skeptical. Did you get a chance to try them?
I didn't get a chance to try them, but I am also super skeptical.
I was super skeptical about how they would function. I'm not worried about the gameplay part of it because I haven't played it, so I don't really know. I was more thinking about these little plastic pieces. How hard are they going to be to put in, to get out? Are they going to be just flying out after you've played them a few times? I was really impressed. Snapped one of the little swords on the guy, shook the meeple all over the place, didn't fly off, and yet, pulling it out, it wasn't like, it was just a simple, it popped off. So there must be some nice little catch that just, works.
I do wonder about the long term for those kind of things. Will it always be as
secure?
I'm more worried about the aesthetics of it. I didn't like the look of them. I got to see them more up close. Honestly, I still don't like the look of them, but I love the idea. And so many things come up like that. Like, let's talk about Golem Arcana. Golem Arcana came out, didn't really get too much momentum, too much buzz. But that being said, love the idea behind it. I really hope that publishers and designers see that game failed
and can find ways to
make it work. Yeah. Like make a game that has pieces that have an electronic component to it. Like that's really interesting.
Yeah, and it's innovative too, right? They're trying something different, so I like that.
So I didn't like the current meeples that exist with attachable items, but I would love to see people do more of them in the future to see if they can be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing.
Right. It might even be like colored attachments or something. It might even make it look a little more like it fits. Like it's all colored meeples with these like white. Everything's white. You know what I mean? The attachments, so it doesn't have this maybe thematically. James Berger asks, "What lenses do you use for your videos?" Very quickly, I just use the kit lenses that come with them. I have a D70 or 70D. Sorry, 70D Canon. What we're shooting with here is just a webcam.
Yeah.
Patrick Hillier, Meeple Source has coins and other gaming improvement bits. Excellent point, Patrick. You're very right. And in fact, we have a video talking about some of their components. So if you want to check that out, you can. And they do have, I think, like generic coins and like little poker chips and things as well. Matt Bona 1 asks, you talked about renos for the Watch It Played set and the ETA on when you want to have them done by. Yes, actually, I hope to have them done in March is the plan. I'm going to work with somebody else to help give me some ideas around what I want. I have a vision in my mind about what I want the set to look like. I have a vision. I want it to be... My idea with Watch It Played is I don't want it to look... How do I put this? I don't want it to look too much like a set. Because my hope is that Watch It Played is a place you come to learn games. And the feeling I want to create is I've invited you over to my house, you're sitting down, and we're going to learn a game together. So I don't want you to feel like you've just walked into a studio, if that makes sense. Obviously, it will look somewhat like a studio because it's going to be...
Because it's going to be a
studio, right? Yeah. But I want to try my best to find a good balance. Like for example, what Tabletop did with what Will Wheaton did with Tabletop, the look of that, I find it warm and comfortable, and I kind of like that look.
I agree.
And the lighting's nice and all that sort of thing. I have my own feelings about it. I kind of want it to be. I imagine wood. I see wood. I see warm colors, and I see. Not a lot of distracting things still. But the thing about our set currently is it's not meant to be a distraction. The focus is meant to be on this face and the game, you know what I mean, this space. The idea is that I don't want you distracted by all this stuff going on in the background. I want it to be sort of simple that way. But I want to add more texture, I guess.
Yeah.
And I would like to be able to look at it when I'm done and go, I don't need to change this set again for years. Like this is something I feel very comfortable in. I've always been just kind of doing little things at a time to make my unfinished basement look a little better. You know what I mean? Because it is just, there's no flooring, there's no ceiling. You can't see into the kitchen, but it's not a finished ceiling. It's just it's a mess down there. And I'd like to be able to walk into that space. And actually, there's something I think, calming about being in a space that feels like your space that you're in. Do you know what I mean? And I spend a lot of hours in there, and I'd like to be in a space that I feel like this is it.
This is the one.
And we hope to have actually a couple of spaces within the space to shoot from. So like here's the main area, but over in the back corner we have another. So if we want to do our table talk segments in that, we have a special spot we can go to for that. Or if you want to do a pep talk segment, we can do that.
Yeah, I like that.
So March is when we're hoping to do it. And will that happen? I hope so. We're working towards that. And the reason why we're even able to consider doing that, going back to the whole fundraiser thing, is because that was one of the stretch goals, was if we raise a certain amount, then I'm going to try to take some of that money, put it back into the show. You guys helped us get there, and that's the way I'd like to do that.
Pete Sherry asks, will we be seeing more Periscope content? It seems to have died down a bit for most of the channels I follow. And do you think that medium was more of a fad, or do you think it has some staying power?
I think about it frequently, actually. Istanbul, recently I was playing that, and I thought I could hop on here and I could talk people through Istanbul and how it works and kind of show it if anyone's been curious. I don't know that it's a passing fad. For me, it's just been a passing of time. Like, it's just, when I've had time where I'd be doing that, I should probably be working on a script or doing something else. Things got busy around the holidays, but I wouldn't mind doing more of it. I don't think it's a dead thing.
I don't think it's dead, but I think what happened was Facebook Live came out a few months after Periscope. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it killed it, but I think it killed a lot. It put a dent in it. I think it killed a lot of people's drive to bother with Periscope, because Facebook Live does the same kind of thing, essentially.
And more people are already on Facebook.
More people are already on Facebook. Yeah. It's easier. You already know you're connecting to your friends.
The biggest problem with the Facebook is the Facebook. I think it's always mirrored. It used to be anyway. Like, you cannot make it look right. Everything's backwards in the video.
Yeah.
But that's something I'm sure they're working on.
And there's definitely advantages to both anyway. Like Periscope, you connect to people that you've never met before. I remember I opened up Periscope and decided to play
a game?
That memory, the game with the letters, I can't think of the name of it, which is Speedy Recall. I played Speedy Recall, and somebody just that I had never met before and didn't even play games came on and just started kind of playing. Like, you go through the Periscopes and you're analyzing, this guy's face looks interesting, let's go there.
It's a way to reach maybe a bigger audience. Although I suppose Facebook, you can probably set to public. Maybe. But
I'm not sure other people, like Joe Schmo from Idaho, can't just go and find you.
Yeah, I would agree.
They have to look for you. So it's interesting.
Marty. Rolling Dice and Taking Names, another great podcast with questionable hosts, asks, do you know where I can get a good deal on aviator headsets? Because during the live show over at the Drive-Thru Review, I thought everyone was going to be wearing headsets. So I didn't feel self-conscious about wearing my big, goofy
But you're the
headsets.
only one.
I was the only one.
That's fair.
It wasn't fair. It was very unfair.
My place is a little echoey, so it makes sense to wear a headset.
Yeah. James Gregory asks, how does Tabletopia work?
Well, let's break it down. The basic idea of Tabletopia... No, I'm actually going to answer a little bit. Okay. The basic idea is that it's kind of like a virtual tabletop. So you'd have the game laid out, and you use your mouse to pick up and whatnot pieces. And then you can right-click or have key commands that are to flip cards, deal cards to players, etc.
Your friends can join you. Not everyone has to have a paid account. I think only one person has to. I think you can play for free anyway.
Yeah, there's some games
stuff
you can play for free. Paid account gives you more and more access to having more open tables at the same time. Tabletop Simulator is another similar game too that you can check out that has this opposite kind of it has a paywall to start and then more access to more free content, but also paid content as well.
Yeah, I like the Tabletopia interface better than Tabletop Simulator, but there's a lot of stuff on both platforms.
Yeah.
Okay. You let me know if you see a question before I do, Pap.
Oh, yeah. A question that's a real question?
Yeah.
I saw something about sweaters.
Remember, if you're asking a question, feel free to put question, the word question, in all caps. It makes it just a little easier for us.
Love this one, and I want to know your answer.
We got about 10 minutes left in this, just so you know.
2 hours. Uric86 asks, what should you do if during play forget to explain an important rule without making people angry? Forgot. If during play you forgot to explain an important rule without making people angry.
I think the best thing you can do is just be very apologetic. I'm so sorry. I just thought of something. It depends too, how critical the rule is.
Yeah.
If it's not super critical, almost forgettable, you could just wait till the end of the game and then tell people.
Yeah. This almost never comes up, but if anyone happened to have done X, you would have gotten 5 bonus points.
It's tough because people,
especially for a big game.
Yeah, long game.
For a 10-minute game, honestly,
no big deal.
Tell everyone the rules half-heartedly, and then by the end be like, okay, now this is how some other things work. Do you want to just play again? But yeah, you sit down to play Scythe. and you miss a very important rule about how like you gain points,
scoring or something.
Suddenly at the end or even halfway through the game, you mention it, and someone's like, "Well, my entire strategy is ruined."
Yeah.
And people almost always will say something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone will always say, "You've ruined my entire game," and it's hard.
Yeah.
Like it happens to me all the time. And the thing is, it's not always about whether or not you explain the rules. Sometimes you have to realize that people need more than one explanation of a single rule. And sometimes people need that rule explained afterwards. Like you can say, "Oh, if you do this, it gives you 2 points." But that's so quick.
And it's so abstract, too.
It's so
like
abstract.
People will hear the words. They might have heard the words, but it meant nothing to them.
Yeah, especially if you do it out of, like, in the wrong kind of order. You know, if you bring that up in the middle of not talking about points, like, "Oh, you do this will give you 2 points, blah, blah, blah," and then 5 minutes later you talk about what gives you points, that's not there in the brain anymore.
Every rules explainer has had it happen.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure, where they've had someone go, "You never said that." And you're like, "No, I remember exactly when I said that. I remember I pointed at the board, I pulled the tile, I dropped it on there." And there's several ways it can happen. It could be they weren't paying attention, but it can be they were paying attention, but again, it just didn't lock in their memory. When you're giving someone 10, 20 pages worth of rules, you can't expect them. Everyone just has to be nice. Everyone just has to be nice to everybody is this solution, and go, the person who just spent the last 20 minutes telling me these rules, obviously put time and work into this. I'm going to give them a little bit of grace. They obviously didn't mean to screw my game up, and vice versa, right? And if you have someone who patently is always screwing up rules, okay, maybe you need to have a little talk. But that's big rule books. It's hard to get everything together. The best thing you can do to solve it is read the rules yourself.
And just be overly thorough. You know, whenever you explain, like, never think you're explaining too much. You might as well just...
Yeah, except, of course, then that creates the other problem where people are going, "Can we just play? Can we just play?"
Yeah.
I get it. Can we just play? And you have to, like, walk that, because there is a line of, like...
There's a line.
Of, like, okay, maybe I am telling too much. Maybe I can let this wait, you know, and knowing where that is challenging. Be nice to everybody. James Gregory, I store my boxes on plastic shelves that I bought at like a hardware store or whatever.
Yeah, mine are like cubed wooden shelves. Got them from Target.
7 minutes left, everybody.
Oh, shush.
Okay.
Oh, a lot of people answered that shelf question.
That's good. Ashley Robbins asked if we use any special containers to hold our smaller bits in. I default to Ziploc bags. I have bought in the past some fish tackle, like plastic Plano box type things. I don't find I use them as much anymore. M. Olson asked a question. I've been teaching a new game group some heavy games, and there's one player who gets serious analysis paralysis. Any tips for helping this kind of player? I would recommend you go to our playlists on our channel, and we have table talk segments. And in there, we do talk about analysis paralysis under one of them, and like slow players and what's everyone's responsibility and how you deal with it. It is kind of different in almost every situation. Not always different, but there's different scenarios in which analysis paralysis is okay and isn't okay, and how to deal with it depending on the person is.
The one thing I think you'd be quite surprised about too is that I have 2 specific people that come to mind when I think about this, and in both cases, just very casually, I brought up the idea of using a timer in games.
Yeah.
And those 2 people were the ones who were most excited about the idea.
Oh, there you go.
So funny enough, if you think that people are having a problem with analysis paralysis, maybe bring up something like a timer. And for most people, the idea of having a minute on their turn in a worker placement isn't that big of a deal. They'd be like, "That's great."
Yes.
And for that person, it gives them a forced stop. So they know that they can't think for 4 minutes. They only have that 1 minute, and it might actually help. Like I said, it was surprising to me, but
yeah, they were open to it. Yeah, I mean, it's a challenging thing to deal with for sure. I mean, also maybe don't play those heavy games with that person. I remember a game group last night. I had set up Concordia, and people were like, "Well, does anyone want to join us?" And I made the point of saying out loud, "This is a dry Euro."
Yeah.
And what I was trying to do was not discourage people so much as go, if you're coming over here to play a dice chucking game.
Yeah, like points aren't going to be exploding everywhere.
Yeah, like,
it's not like I do this and then I win the game.
And I think if you're about to play a heavier game and you think someone there might be a little slower player, they might not even enjoy that. Like the analysis process might be bothering them, you know? Maybe let them know in advance. This is a game that people who are prone to it might have trouble with. Augusto asks, what game do you think it's hard to show on Watch It Played, either for its length or rules? In terms of instructional videos, I don't know that there's a lot of games that would be like hard or impossible. I mean, a complex war game would be difficult because there's a lot of like, look up section 3.4.5.b, and then when you're there, look at section 2.3.1.7. Like, that would just be hard to write in general.
I think any game where most of the rules exist on the pieces or the cards. Like, for example, the idea of teaching Magic the Gathering via a watch it played video. Like, you can teach the exact basics of the game, but it honestly tells people almost nothing. Right. Like, if I explained Magic the Gathering to you and then gave you a deck of, like, a very advanced deck of cards,
you'd still have trouble.
You'd have no idea what's going on because there's keywords blowing up everywhere. There's, like, 2 new keywords come out almost every set. So, I mean...
Like, recently we just wrapped Guild Ball. That's a miniatures game. That has, like, a 40 to 50 page rule book. Wasn't impossible to do, and I like doing a miniatures game every now and then. I don't mind doing something that's big or extended, but in terms of gameplay, the ones that are the hardest to show on the channel, like us playing, are games where I think most of the action happens in your head. Those are a little harder to do. Like Gallerist, I think we made it work, but that's a game where normally, if you're playing, most people would be sitting there doing this.
Just kind of looking. Yeah, anything that's very point salad-y, especially. And there's 6 different options I could do that would each give me points. I need to look and count. This is going to be 6, 4, 3, 2.
Yeah, which is not really engaging to watch. So that's why we edit everything down and we just get you to the point where we're making the choice. Seth Jaffe asks, what are the best chairs to use for tabletop gaming? I don't know. Comfortable chairs? I mean, I think cushions are good. I don't know if arms on a chair are good or not.
I do like arms.
Do you?
Personally.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't, but for me, arms are big. Funny enough, none of my chairs that I use for gaming here have arms. But I do like the ability to like rest on an arm, especially because if the table's all cluttered, it keeps the arms off the table, which is true. Nice.
That's a good point. Maybe there's something to be said for
having the arms there. Personally, I actually have a car seat. It is a seat that is torn straight out of a car. And I like using it for gaming.
It's not the best chair for gaming.
It's a little low.
It's arguably the worst chair for gaming.
It's a little low. If it was higher, I think it would be great. Almost need to put it on a platform.
Okay, we're at the point now.
The yes nos.
We're probably at the point for yes nos. All right, I'll do one more. We got one question left on here. Gil, who's been in the comments here as well, asked a question on our BGG guild. He said, do you think the board game community can handle this crazy growth forever, or might we see a bubble burst or a slowdown? This question gets asked a fair bit. I don't know if people are kind of anticipating it's going to burst, or kind of waiting and it's going to happen. Is it going to happen?
Well, it's like anything. Like, look at it like gambling. At some point, the luck or the streak has to run out. Like, how long can this always be great? At some point, something has to go bad, right? But I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Yeah, it's difficult with products like video games have been going for decades now. So, I mean, that industry has not, I don't know if it's
it's had ups and downs, though. I don't know if it's
probably rates of growth or whatever, right? But it has never bottomed out. Like, no. I imagine people imagining this big crash or something. I think we wouldn't notice. Here's what I mean. I think over 1,000 games came out this year. If, let's just say, only 500 games came out, so 50% fewer games.
Yeah.
Would anyone really notice? Like, would anyone really notice? I don't know. I mean, the people making the money, they might notice. But as far as a consumer goes, 500 games, guys.
I think quality-wise, there's a bubble that can burst. Like, even last year at Gen Con, for example, I don't want to call out particular games at Gen Con that I didn't like or anything like that. But the year before, I remember liking so many more things. Okay. I came home with probably a dozen different games that I'm like, this is great, can't wait to play this. Out of the most recent Gen Con, I think I came home with 2 games in mind out of the entire Gen Con that I'm like, I would love to keep playing this again.
That's the other thing about this, evaluating the years and the bubble bursting. Like, again, I see this brought up on podcasts and other places. People say, oh, this was the best year in gaming. And someone else goes, this was a terrible year in gaming. Like, in terms of, because it's so subjective. Like, what Pep experienced, someone else had a great year. They brought home bundles of games and they're having a great time. Neither person is wrong. It's just your likes and your interests, right? I don't know how you'd measure it bursting. Some people talk about the Kickstarter bubble bursting. I guess what they mean is people will stop putting games on Kickstarter or something.
Well, and just, you can only, like, how many games like, Kingdom Death come out on Kickstarter where you're dumping, like $2,000 into it to get all of it. Can you really handle, like, Kingdom Death came out, let's say a month from now, Kingdom Life comes out.
Sure.
And then Kingdom Averageness comes out. You know what I mean? Like, if they just keep pumping out, if every month I had to spend $2,000,
I think
it would be hurt.
Yeah, I think the problem is that we probably are plagued with a little bit of a collector's mentality. Like,
yeah, we want everything.
I don't think video gamers go, I need to buy every video game. It's like everything. You want the hot titles. I guess you want the new. There'll always be the new thing going on there, right? But I think in terms of it bursting, again, if you could only get 500 cult of the new things instead of 1,000, I still think everyone's wallets would be tapped out and fine.
Yeah, funny enough, in my personal opinion, I don't think there's going to be less games necessarily ever. I think there's always going to be more. But the problem is more and more small companies are going to be releasing games. And I think people might become less interested in small companies because of it, as weird as that sounds. And I think if there's going to be a bubble burst, it's going to be in the smaller game companies and not the bigger ones.
I think you're right. I think the small game companies to compete have to make games that look like big games. What I mean is,
in a lot of ways,
your art, and you can't skimp on art and graphic design and those other things. It needs to look like, because if I got the choice between these two games that both play great, but this one looks really good and this one doesn't, that's going to be a thing that people are going to gravitate towards potentially.
Yeah, to me, I talk about aesthetics all the time, but I don't care about aesthetics if I really enjoy the game. But like you said, if I enjoy two games pretty much equally, I'd rather the one that looks good.
Yeah, and if you've got 100 games releasing, these are things people start to be divided on.
Yeah.
I mean, the video game industry, there's still an indie side to that is thriving, because you'll always have someone doing something that isn't popular that becomes popular. And sometimes the bigger companies don't have the same flexibility. They're always going to steer towards, this will make us money.
Yeah.
This we know will work. So bigger companies sometimes stop being as innovative, and so you can find that sometimes in the smaller companies. I don't think it'll burst.
No, and I don't want as an aside, I don't want to say that I don't like games from smaller companies. I do. Most of the games that I really like are from a lot of smaller companies too, and it's just I am worried that the more and more companies that get created and the more people that independently publish, I feel like it's going to get harder for all of them, and it's a shame, because I want more people to be doing it.
I think there's no question about that, because you and me and you people watching, you're on BGG, you're paying attention to what's coming from the new guy, but Joe Schmo walking into a game store is going to see what's on the shelf.
Yeah.
And the small guy is going to have a hard time competing for shelf space, potentially, orders, distribution, all these sort of things. I'm not a distributor. I'm not a publisher. Some of this I could be talking out of my butt, but that's, I guess our sense of it is, indie guy can have a hard time getting noticed, maybe.
Well, and the board game media is important too. Like you, for example, yourself can't cover every new game that comes out.
Right.
So if tons and tons and tons of new games come out that are from smaller publishers, it's really hard for you to have the time to do those games.
Yes, that's right.
So as much as you'd love to, there's an infinite time.
Yeah, there's an agency. I want to create content that's going to be watched.
Yeah.
So it's fun sometimes to do something that maybe no one's heard about, but I really like my content to have long-term value. Seven Wonders is a good example. That game, that video gets watched every time, especially after Christmas. More views, more comments. People are like, this is helpful. And I want to keep creating content that is helpful. And so you tend to kind of gravitate towards games you think have staying power over this really cool, interesting game that 100 people will ever play.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a hard balance.
It is. It's
a hard balance.
Okay, we're going to try to do our rapid fire answer. It kind of flopped last time. It was hard. Because people are asking questions not really good for yes or no, which is what you're supposed to do. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Bill Villy Willy asks, how many booster boxes of Star Wars Destiny have you bought, Rodney? No, not talking about it.
None?
Not talking about it.
I'm going to guess 50.
Not talking
Zero
about it.
for me so far.
Not talking about it. Sean Sullivan, have you gotten into the Arkham Horror LCD? Not so much. Played it once or twice.
So
I'm not saying.
No.
I just haven't played it a bunch.
A little bit.
Joshua Smits, I just picked up Mansion of Madness 2nd Edition. Is watching how to play as their gameplays are going to ruin the playthrough? No. Sean Edgar, what game releases are you looking forward to most in Q1 2017? I can't tell you Q1, but again, check the description of this video later today. I'll have a link to the drive-through review video where we talk about our top 3 games, me and a bunch of other people.
I was just going to say no.
Supar, did you order Seventh Continent?
No.
No, I wish I had. I desperately wish I had. Evan Swarf, Hey, question. Are there any games you first played as cardboard that you've completely replaced with digital play?
Ooh.
Yes.
Star Realms for me.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Same.
Not on purpose.
No.
Just so less people to play with.
It's so much more convenient, too.
Yeah, it's so much more convenient.
Same with me in Summoner Wars. I've played more games with the Summoner Wars app than I have the actual game, but I still break out the actual game from time to time. Andrew Donna asks, have we considered traveling overseas to conventions? Yes, but money. Expensive flights.
Spiky Spike 0503 wants to know, if you guys had to only keep one board game for the rest of your lives, what would it be? No.
No, that's yes or no questions. No, not do that.
That's a super hard.
Yeah. Paul Bowman asks, have either of you gone on a cruise? Yes.
No.
Okay. I'm just skipping over questions. If we consider this or consider that, don't feel bad. We talked about it earlier in the video. Zipping down.
Question. Back to trying to guess Pep's real name from some months ago. If we have a Rodney and given Pep's facial hair, his name really Uncle Albert?
No. Oh, we're getting to the bottom. This is good. You know, it's really fascinating. There's so many people who want to know, tell me what game to buy.
I know.
So many people want to know what game to buy. I know where it comes from. I think it's a risk aversion thing.
Oh, yeah.
People are sitting there, they've got a limited amount of money in their wallet. They want to maximize their fun. And they want someone to kind of remove the risk, I think. Like, help me feel confident that when I buy this, I will get the fun I want to have out of it. Right? And it's such a human thing. Like, someone tell me what to get, you know?
Well, to jump back to it, I think that's where the Kickstarter bubble idea comes from too, is that, like, again, Seven Wonders, let's just keep bringing up Seven Wonders. If I didn't own Seven Wonders right now, people have brought it over to my house and I've played it. I know I like it. I've seen people talk about it online.
Yeah,
I know I like it.
Yeah.
I would buy Seven Wonders right now if I did not own it.
Right.
But the thing is, if Seven Wonders came out on Kickstarter now for the first time, I have to look at a description online. There's reviews, but the reviews of people who were basically sent free copies of the game before it existed.
Or paid in the case of previews.
Or paid. And I mean, personally, if you send me something before anyone else has seen it, I have the chance to be excited about it. I'm excited that it's a new game. I might be a little more colored than, hey, this game has been out for 6 months. I'm trying it for like the 6th time. Here's my review of it.
Yeah, sure. So many things factor into people's opinions. That's why the recommendation thing I just avoid. Because I might tell you, hey, here's the first expansion you should get for the Lord of the Rings LCG.
Yeah.
And you might hate it. You might play it and be like, this is terrible. And someone else will tell you a different one, and someone else will tell you a different one, and someone else will tell you a different one. And it is hard to know. And I understand. I have the same questions. I'm looking at a game on a shelf and going, do I want to buy this? And I will go to reviewers. I'll see what people are saying to try to get a general sense of it. I definitely do.
And sometimes I will buy things on impulse.
Oh, sure.
But yeah. And same with, I'll kickstart things on impulse sometimes too. But, you know, you can only have so many failed impulses before. Like, I'm less inclined to buy things on Kickstarter now because of my failed impulses.
Well, and because those games, if they are successful, they'll be available on a store shelf anyway. Yes, you might miss out on some of the Kickstarter extras, but a lot of them, if they're good games, they'll end up in distribution.
Some things have a lot of them. I was blown away. I forgot about just how many extras came in the Mass Mora Kickstarter, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of 5 characters, you get like 16.
And a lot of these companies, like Cool Mini or Not, they are offering many of those things as not exclusive. So if you're desperate to get those characters, you can buy them as a separate, add-on later.
That's good,
for example.
But I also do like having exclusives. Exclusives are something that people are super excited about.
For sure to get things. Anyone PL8 says, how did Watch It Play get on Robinson Crusoe New Edition boxes? Video recommendations to everything in the rulebook. Portal offered to do that. And we're on several other boxes. Not several, but we're on other boxes as well.
There's another question here from Gil.
Yeah.
Oh, he's slightly up. He wants to know, you and Pep seem to have a great chemistry together. Was it easy for you guys to get there? I would think a hard thing to a very gifted game teachers to come together.
It's like a lot of things. I mean, you have a friendship with somebody, and you get to know them for a while, then you develop like a chemistry, I guess.
I think an important part of any chemistry is that you have to not agree with people on things. And Rodney and I don't agree on a lot of things.
Sure, right.
And it's perfect.
Yeah, it's true.
Because like when we're sitting here on a live show, we can talk and have friendly banter back and forth. But like we can also sit there and argue.
Yeah, and I think the other important thing is we know when to turn it on and off.
Yeah.
Like, we know not to get into a fight here. That's not something you guys want to watch. Some of you do want to watch it, but that's not something I want to play to.
Yeah.
And I think knowing that is important. and then we can get off camera and we can have a vigorous debate about something that we need to, right? Okay. I'm seeing scores from people.
Oh, I want to see those scores. Yeah.
Let's see. I jumped so far down. I lost all the scores. I lost so many things. I'm seeing 37, 30. Here we go. 55. I see a 55. Is that the highest one?
Somebody said 69, actually.
I see people's excitement here as they're getting the things they want. 55. Jacob, Meeple Leaf Reviews, excellent podcast, excellent YouTube channel. Check it out. And Canadian. 22 points. 55 from Scott Seward. Very good, Scott. You beat Pep.
Someone actually said they got 69 as well.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't see that.
Down.
I apologize.
Yeah.
There it is. Firedale, 2,002, 69 points. Woo! That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, my goodness. There are so many questions we didn't get to. I thought we were making progress, and we haven't. Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, listen, guys. We're going to have to end here. I need to go eat. I have work to do.
All right.
Work on more content.
One more yes or no question.
Okay.
Kabuki Kid wants to know, did you like Rogue One?
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Yes. I did like Rogue One, but I did not love Rogue One. I think I want to watch it again and see if I love it.
I want to watch it again just because I want to hear.
There are so many things I liked about it.
Yeah.
I can't point at the movie and go, oh, I didn't like this and I didn't like this. There are people hung up about certain things, about certain logic things. None of that bothered me. I didn't care. It's Star Wars, whatever. It felt real enough. I don't know what it was. The newer one. I can't think of the name of it right now.
Episode 7.
Kylo Ren. Yeah.
Oh, Kylo Ren.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. I saw that one, and I had all the euphoria, the excitement, the whatever. I
was the opposite.
Yeah, and
I didn't like The Force Awakens as much.
Force Awakens,
thank you. I liked Rogue One more.
I love the gritty realism of Rogue One. I thought they found a great way to fit that into the canon. I think they proved you can do an out of canon, or not out of canon, but out of the saga. I think the main 9 or whatever, you can have an offshoot Star Wars movie that works.
And that's good, because knowing that like the Han Solo movie's coming out too
gives promise to those.
I love that it's a Han Solo movie.
Han Solo movie.
But it's great. It's great knowing that the one offshoot movie could work.
Yep.
And so now if I go to watch the Han Solo movie, I'm going to go to watch it with the preconception that this can be good.
Yeah, definitely. Again, I think it was it's the weirdest thing. I liked everything about it, and for some reason it still felt a little flat for me. I don't know why. All right, that's it. Thank you guys. Thanks so much for sticking around. We went over time a little bit. I hope you enjoyed playing a little Avenue with us. I'm sorry we didn't get to all these questions. Again, if you'd like to, you can sign up to the Watch It Played Guild on BGG, and that's a spot we pre-announce the live shows, and you can send in your questions in advance, and that kind of helps maybe improve the chances that we'll get those ones answered. All right, everyone, until the next episode. Thanks for watching and sticking around while I figure out how to turn this off. That always takes a little extra time. We'll figure it out right now. Here we go. Stop. Here we go. Oh, I have to click an OK button now. And now I'll stop it now.